Looks like it's a rolling. I think the audio is good. I have no idea, to be totally honest, because we're not live. I can't check it. I checked the little meter that lets you test, and it looked like it was doing a-okay. So there's that. But otherwise, this is a pre-record. Please accept my sincerest apologies. I have to go to a birthday gathering this evening, so I was not going to be able to do it live. And next Friday is the 4th of July, so we'll be off. So I wanted to make sure there was an episode for this week because, this time there's always going to be a reason to take off during the summer. So when I can do an episode of some kind, I will. I prefer to do it live. It's a lot more fun with, with my meager following out in the comment section. Not to minimize the impact that the comment section on a Friday night has on my life. I'm talking the amount of people there, meager, but the commentary that you bring could move mountains. It's a tour de force. So thank you all for being there when I am live, and of course, remember to share, like, subscribe, all that shit that feeds the algo as I sit here on my ass doing nothing to promote the stream. But seriously, if you like it, just screenshot, send it to your friends, tell them to check out at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube, or just search for Sacktap Live, at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, on Instagram and Twitter, at Mike Montone. The easiest place to reach me is in the comment section here on YouTube. That's really the only social media that I ever kind of check. I scroll Twitter a lot. I love a good Twitter, Reddit scroll, but I don't interact on Twitter anyway. It's just, I feel like all of it's so stupid. Like the YouTube, streaming is fun because you're doing it. You're talking about stuff, and I guess if you use your Twitter or your Instagram in a different way, like if you're a photographer showing off their work on Instagram or something along those lines. Or if you're doing, if you're a streamer that goes on IG Live or something like that, but doing like stories and stuff, I don't know, it doesn't appeal. And I guess by the same logic, you could use Twitter if you were you could use it as a blogging platform, I guess. Oh, it's weird though, because you could use Facebook and Twitter as blogging platforms and just write a bunch of stuff or write stuff onto a notes thing and put the screenshot up there. But it still, I feel like if you do that, it comes off as unhinged because it looks like you're going on a rant, even if you just intend it to be like a fucking a blog post. I feel like people would see it and they would refer to it as you're spiraling. Anytime someone writes a lot of stuff on social media, people accuse them of spiraling because it does. I think if you're a millennial, you grew up with like Facebook and Twitter were places that you posted a picture of your lunch, and then sometime in the 2010s, it just became people trying to kind of ruin each other's lives. Yeah, I guess we view it through a different lens. But yeah, I feel like you should. It would be a good blogging platform, if not for the fact that there is something in my brain that says you look like an unhinged psycho if you write that much on a social media platform. But if you write the same amount of words on WordPress, it's fine. Anyway, sorry for that rather unnecessary digression as I promoted social media. I had a little hit from the pen while I had my coffee this morning, and clearly the shit was rather good. I did want to, before I started rolling too deep into the episode, just say that if you haven't seen Jim Norton's new stand-up special, check it out. I watched it Sunday night. It was my Sunday night lounge around TV viewing, and it was very funny. So you should definitely go give that a watch. Jim is fucking hilarious. Like, just fucking, like, I was listening to him on Rogan and just thinking of all, like, just the entire character that is Jim Norton and how he really lives you think of like these, almost TV characters like Kramer, and you're like, okay, I get how you can write that character for like scenes and stuff like that, and even an episode or a season. But like, to live as Cosmo Kramer would be impossible. You never could. And then you meet Jimmy, and you listen to the stories on the radio and all of that stuff, and you're like how could like this, it almost seems impossible, like the monitoring auctions for like Kiss posters. It is Kramer-esque in a way, but it's also like genuinely him, which I think enhances how hilarious some of it is. And of course, he goes into such depth about this stuff in the stand-up special, and you're like, oh, he's just dropping little stuff. Again, anyone could talk about this for a stand-up special. It's just an hour, but certainly one could not actually live like this. And indeed he does. So check it out. I mean, it's just, it was a very, very funny and a fun little like sort of trip down memory lane as I watched each bit, being like, oh, I did kind of get to see that slowly take shape over the course of many, many hours via radio. So yeah, good. If you're looking, if you're like me, if you like a nice Sunday night TV binge, I love easing out of the weekend with a good TV binge. So yeah, that's a good pick. Like, I'm usually like a Sopranos or a Curb or a Seinfeld guy, but yeah, that it hit the spot. It was hot as fuck this week. I think that's the only way to describe, like, June. It usually does. It's supposed to warm up, although now it's like down in the fucking 60s. It's very confusing around here. But we got a hell of a fucking heat wave this week. I went after work on Tuesday in the morning. I hopped right in the car and went down the shore, and the beach was packed like it was a Saturday at like 2 p.m. On a Tuesday, which usually Tuesday's like in the beginning of the week. Like, Tuesday usually isn't like a play hooky from, Tuesday's kind of, Tuesday is all business. But yeah, it was, the beach was packed. The fucking first couple beach trips this year, and the cake has been on display. The ladies must have spent the summer squatting and deadlifting, because there are just cheeks abounding, and I am not one to complain. I also have I've noticed, I don't know if they're putting like Bloussant in the drinking water now along with the fluoride, but a lot of heavies, as they call them, walking on the beach these days. So if you are a fan of such things, get to the sand, baby. Not having quite as much fun on the sand is this fucking lifeguard down in Asbury. I don't even want to read the details of the story, because it it makes your skin crawl. But she fell. I guess she fell off the lifeguard stand while she was setting up an umbrella or something like that, and she fucking impaled herself. Now, I don't believe she didn't impale herself through the midsection like like fucking with Vladimir the Impaler, like those guys back in the Middle Ages when they would want to teach everybody a lesson and they would leave the road into the city would just be bodies impaled on stakes, and they would, there'd be some guy like halfway down a fucking 6-foot pole, and he's just fucking groaning to death as fucking vultures pick out his eyeballs and his entrails and whatnot. I don't think it was like that. I think it like went through, something here. Like I don't think it busted through her fucking rib cage, but still, not pleasant, not fun. I was on the beach frolicking about in the ocean, and enjoying the sort of museum of the flesh, but not this poor kid fucking fell through. And I was watching again. I'm not even going into the fucking article. I don't want to read the specifics, because it truly like. Yeah, I can watch a horror movie, no problem. Oh, they stabbed somebody, action movie, blown up, whatever. But when you hear about like a real life incident of shit like that, you're like, oh, yeah, yikes. Lose your appetite. Disgusting. But they did say she's going back to work. She'd be out 6 weeks. What a fucking trooper. She's only going to be out impaled, and she's only going to be out 6 weeks. Chick's got some she got some fucking dog in her. Like, like that. People would, they would file workman's comp for the rest of their life. This kid's like, nah, I'm back. 6 weeks, get me back in the chair. Let's go. Respect. That is a well-parented teenager. No surprise, Monmouth County, New Jersey. Fucking salt of the earth, beach people. Monmouth County, New Jersey, like, is really one of the, like, the most beautiful places. Like, it's beach, serene suburbs, and then directly into, like, grass hills, rolling farmland and shit. Like, literally within 20 minutes, you can be buying like pie and fresh jam from a roadside stand, and then you can be cruising through like $1 million homes in the suburbs, and then toes in the fucking water, all inside of like 20 minutes. Beautiful Monmouth County. New Jersey catches so much shit because we have because the pockets right outside of New York City and Philadelphia are just such fucking shitholes. If you can get away from those places, New Jersey is it's quite a place. Highly recommend a visit. Incredible food, very nice beaches, a lot of very fit, attractive women too. Anyway. What did I want to get to? I have to keep an eye on the clock. It's a very busy day, so I have to make sure. I hit the right side. I want to talk about Mamdani, but there's also this pervert teacher. Well, pervert. I do love a pervy female teacher. Accused pervert teacher Christina Formella makes high school yearbook despite charges for raping teen. So this is the New York Post, of course, keeping us abreast. Christina Formella, nice Italian girl. She was a teacher at Downers Grove South High School in suburban Chicago, but Downers Grove, I don't know why, but Downers Grove South High School sounds like it sounds like the school where they send all the retarded kids. Like it sounds like someone invented a school. Like Downers Grove isn't really a town. It's just like like the University of Phoenix. You're not actually going to school in Phoenix. Like it's just a name they came up with it to give it an air of legitimacy. Downers Grove sounds like a school for like retards and invalids and what have you. Um, like just kids. Everybody at Downers Grove is walking around with like a helmet and elbow pads. You're allowed to make these jokes now because Trump is in office. Downers Grove. Like it sounds like, it almost sounds like it would be something out of like a Shane Gillis sketch. Downers Grove. So anyway, she was fired because she allegedly had sex with a teenage student 50 times. But good news, she is still in the yearbook, and again, like it's such a trope, but of like, you know, why is the hot teacher having sex with the student? But again, she is a looker. I would not turn down a date with Christina Formella. This is again one of those situations. Anytime we have one of those situations, if there are people out there, again, I have, a very modest listenership, but if you're out there and you know them, let me know. I want to hear the tales. Who did anyone have a prom romp with one of these sex teachers? Inquiring minds. We always say these are the high school reunion stories. People are going to be at Christina Formella's high school reunion, whatever year it is. How old is she? Does it say? I'll stop sharing while I stroll, so I'm not annoying you. She's 30, so she would have graduated. So she had her 10-year already. So be a little. How old are you when you have your 38? She'll have her 20 years. They're gonna have something to chat about at their 20, or maybe they do a 15. Who knows? Or at least Thanksgiving this year. People are gonna be. That's definitely gonna be the talk. Fucking a bunch of thick Chicago accents talking about Christina Formella. Yeah, I got a hander from her. She jerked me under the table in the cafeteria. She was always into 15-year-olds. Fucking. But anyway, Christina, as you just saw, did make. She was in the yearbook, and I think people are a little taken aback by that. I guess in one picture they show her posing with here she is posing with the boys soccer team, which is kind of like, that's kind of funny. I think, like, because you could go through, like, because we know about the one kid that she allegedly had sex with, but if she's hanging around all like these athletic teenage boys, you'd obviously rumors have probably swirled. So there are probably guys, they're looking at, like, they're going to be showing, if you're like an uncle or something like that, and you were in this class and you have this yearbook, you're going to be showing that off to your nephew when he's a teenager. You're going to be like, yeah, you got to see this teacher, this chick. Yeah, she banged this kid. She banged this kid. She banged this kid. We heard that she might have tugged this kid's cock like fucking underneath the bleachers one day. Like, you're going to be going through that with your nephew, or like with your buddies, or, you know, like, or if you're a male teacher at this school and you're 30 years old and you got your buddies over to fucking watch the game, you're going to bust out the yearbook and like, yo, you got to check this shit out. So she has to be in the yearbook. You know, this woman is such an integral part of what is going to make, like, the teenage years memorable for kids who went to this school. And again, I understand it's if she did have sex with a teenage student, it's wrong. It's all of the, get all that stuff out of the way. But also, it is a hot chick teacher banging a student, and, you know, every one of us, every male, there is something, whether you know, if you're like, okay, it's still fucked up, like, whatever, but there is something deep down inside of every male who says, yes, it would have been a tremendous accomplishment as a teenager if I myself had been able to bang a hot teacher. I would have been like, I feel like I would have carried that as such a badge of pride throughout my life. I've talked about this in many episodes. The way it really ruins the kid is, you know, a 30-year-old woman knows the fucking ropes. Like, there is a stark difference between, like, you know, the idea of like the college fuck fest. College kids don't really know how to fuck. You know, I know you've seen porn and stuff like that, but like, you don't have like, that's like saying like, I know how to fly a plane because I've seen someone fucking, you know, I watched a video of someone flying a plane. You know, you really don't know what you're doing until you have considerable experience fucking up, because, you know, there's a lot of detail going on in there. So this kid's getting, if you're one of these kids who bangs his teacher, you're getting a rush education, you're getting an advanced education in how to satisfy a woman, like a fully actualized, mature woman. You're going to, it's like, I mean, it's like going from the pros back to the minors when you get to college. Like, you're almost going to have to bang like a professor or like a local, you know, the bartender at the campus dive, you know, the 35-year-old divorcee who's slinging pitchers of fucking Bud Light on Thursday afternoons. Like, you're gonna have to bang one of them because you know, just, you know, what you're going to get, you know, having sex you're gonna go from fucking a teacher, a grown woman with a, you know, in a fucking classroom, to trying to have discreet encounters in a twin bed in a college dorm. No, thank you. Yeah, that's how it ruins them. This kid's he's gonna be sexually jaded by sophomore year. He's gonna be, this sucks. It's gonna be like how I felt going from having these like big Italian meals every Sunday to moving out to fucking Allentown, Pennsylvania for college, where, you know, if I want an Italian meal, like the best you could do was like, you know, they had like a fucking I don't know if they had a fucking, it wasn't I would never go to a fucking whatever the fucking shit, like, it's not chain Italian, but it's like, you know, it's also not authentic. It just fucking horrible, or you're eating spaghetti and meatballs in the fucking cafeteria. Just such a fucking letdown. That's what sex is going to be for this kid for a few years, is going to be cafeteria spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing. But a legend. How we doing on time? Okay. All right, we got a few minutes. So staying in America's schools, inside the alleged recess plot by fifth graders to kill classmate, and then stage it as a suicide. Quote, just end him. People Magazine. .com. Four Arizona fifth grade girls allegedly planned to lure a classmate into a bathroom, stab him, and leave him with a forged suicide note at recess. I mean, insane. Four girls aged 10 and 11 planned to kill their classmate in October for allegedly cheating in a relationship, according to a surprise. The place is Surprise, Arizona, a surprise police department report. First of all, cheating in a relationship. I don't even know how you do that when you're 10 years old. Is this over like hand holding? The elaborate plot included assigned roles. One girl would bring the knife, one would stab the boy, and one would act as a lookout. One would forge a suicide note. Each planned to wear gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints. I mean, this is psychotic. This sounds like something that Sammy the Bull Gravano would talk about as like a fond reminiscence on his YouTube channel. This legitimately sounds like the way that like they killed fucking Louis Melito. Like the fucking I wonder if they asked like, Chat GPT or AI or something like that, or where they got this idea. But this is psychotic stuff. This is, and you wonder, because they agreed to quote, just end him. And luckily, I guess they were gonna lure him to an outdoor bathroom on campus and stab him in the stomach. And I guess 3 of the girls showed remorse, according to the report, but the 4th was smiling and laughing while making excuses for their actions when she was being interrogated, which is, it makes you wonder if the sort of upcoming generation, if they have like a horrible lack of empathy, if social media or the way society is, has it turned them all into little psychos, or is it just, there's so many people on the planet that mathematical odds say that somewhere at some time some shit like this would happen, right? Is this just a deviation from the norm that is so shocking that it becomes news, or is this representative of a sort of more horrifying societal trend? Like, is this like an extreme example of a society that now completely lacks any empathy or remorse or sensitivity whatsoever? Because for a child to think about brutal, like, with intent, brutally stabbing someone, and then doing so in a manner that their fingerprints aren't on it, and like stabbing someone is like people are like you have to be crazy to fucking stab somebody, because people are afraid of interpersonal violence. Like the idea of sticking a knife into another human being, like that is unpleasant to most people. It's like people say it. People say like public speaking and shit are like the people's biggest fear. Like, that's not true. People's biggest fear is the fear of interpersonal violence. Because most people would rather give a speech than have to plunge a knife into another human being. You know what I like? It's that. Would you rather give a best man speech, or you could go into the crowd and stab one person? What are you doing? Yeah. So, for a child to overcome that, it does make you wonder if we've been led astray, or if this is just a sort of a glitch in the matrix in this kid's brain, and that's what caused it. But it's not like children can kill. Like again, I'm watching this Ken Burns Civil War documentary, and you realize that a lot of the guys fighting were like 12 years old, and the same thing with the revolution. Pickett's charge. It was a bunch of fucking middle school students charging at each other with. If you were a grown man, you may have had to just kill multiple adolescents, like multiple children, like some 25-year-old dude just out there with a fucking bayonet going to town on fifth graders. It's a wild thought. So the human beast is quite interesting, and we are living in interesting times right now. New York City, often taking center stage nationally for any number of reasons. Mamdani, what's his first? Zohran Mamdani beat Cuomo in the Democratic primary, which, if you've been following this, I'm a big local news guy. If you've been following this, you kind of knew it was coming. And then when Brad Lander through his support behind Mamdani with the and it's ranked choice voting, so that you can kind of manipulate it if you know what you're doing, especially in a party primary. They beat Cuomo. This is, again, people sort of rejecting the norm, right? Whether that's MAGA or whether it's a fucking socialist. Now, of course, this is New York City, and it's the Democratic primary. So, who votes in the Democratic primary is people who are really into the Democratic. So it is possible, of course, that in a citywide election, there's actually much stronger turnout for Cuomo or Eric Adams, who at least one or both of them is going to be in the race against Mamdani, and I think Curtis Sliwa is running as the Republican. And this isn't even like, I don't even talk about a story like this to be political per se. I think it's just this, and this might just be me coming from working in the news industry, especially local New York City news, and growing up around all of that shit. Like it's just sort of interesting. It's like watching an athletic season play out. A New York City politics, big city politics are always interesting. In a lot of ways, I think more interesting than national politics are like kind of like big city politics, watching all of this stuff unfold, because what drove this is there's an attitude in New York City. So you have to understand what New York City is. And New York City is a shithole where people go to make a lot of money. But if you don't make a lot of money, and in some way you have to make an obnoxious amount of money to even live comfortably in New York City, because New York City is not a comfortable place. New York City is a miserable place. So most of the people, by definition, living in New York City are miserable and uncomfortable. And there is a degree to which they would like for you to be miserable and uncomfortable too. Whenever something shitty or bad happens in New York City, there are a lot of people who just, it's the city. What are you going to do? This is it. Like, there is this badge of pride that New Yorkers wear for living under shitty, miserable conditions. And it's very stupid. They're very stupid to do so. I live, I live in Jersey City, which is effectively the sixth borough. The Jersey City, Hoboken, and Union City are all sort of extensions of New York City. It's all part of the same urban sprawl. We're just separated by a river. It's marginally more comfortable over here. The difference over on this side of the river is, for the most part, nobody resents you for trying to be more comfortable. There are like the locals who have lived in this area forever, feel that like they hate the high rises and stuff like that. But gentrification has eliminated so many of them that they're almost not a problem anymore. Like, it's literally just, they've just gotten fucking shoved the fuck out and kind of told to shut the fuck up. But in New York, in the city, because it's, it's so much bigger. It's just, bigger and denser. There are a lot of people, but it's always been like that in New York. There has always been a class tension in New York City. Since New York City became a city, there has been a class tension in the city, and it always spills over into these little socialist uprisings. Like the NYPD exists because at Christmas time in the 1800s, the lower classes would get so fucking aggressive that they would riot. They would get drunk and riot in the streets, and sometimes their riots would turn into setting things on fire and marching on the uptown homes of the wealthy. So the wealthy demanded that there be an NYPD, and that is how the first gendarmerie became a thing. Because prior to that, everyone just had hired private security. So this this continues to this day, and look, things were good. It's interesting. Things in the city were very good under Bloomberg, but it turned into the little communistas that live in Brooklyn and Queens. The people who aren't living lives of extreme comfort in the city, and yet, for whatever reason, stay there. There are modestly priced suburbs that you can move to, where you can live much better than you will live on the same income in fucking Brooklyn or Queens. Like, move to Lodi. You can commute from fucking Garfield, New Jersey. Like, you'll live just fine. You might even have a front lawn, a little patch of grass to call your own. But instead, a lot of these people, they're very territorial. They stay in neighborhoods like Brooklyn and Queens and stuff like that for their entire lives, generations after generation, and they don't like that people with money, because New York City again is a place where you come to make money. There's Wall Street and media and fashion and sports and theater and all of these things that generate lots of money. Restaurants, people open businesses. You come here to make it, and when you make it, and you have a big business that and you want to keep living there, you're going to say, well, I have all this money now. I don't want to live in shit. I don't want to be surrounded by fucking roaches. I want to live in the high rise that has a pool. I don't want to have to go to the public pool in Brooklyn. It's a disgusting shithole. I want to go to a pool on top of a high rise. So they build high rises for these people because these are the people putting money into the city. The guy selling fucking papayas off a table on the fucking corner without a license isn't putting money into the city. So and people struggle to grasp that. But what this wealthy class also brings with it is a sort of a younger bohemian generation that has the wealth, right? They grew up here and now they're staying here, or they transplanted here because they were lured by sort of in Brooklyn, you can have a lot of money and live fake poor. And they really get into it. It becomes almost a method acting because you have to understand, like, there are a lot of very well-off. It used to be just Caucasians, but now it's because a lot of Asian and Latino cultures. A lot of them have started to do very well in America, particularly sort of Asian cultures. So a lot of those millennial and now the Gen Zers hitting their 20s and getting out there, a lot of them come from extreme wealth. And they move to places like Brooklyn or like Astoria, Queens, or what have you, and they feel guilty almost for having risen up. So they have to kind of flip the bird to mom and dad, and what they do is. They veer very socialist in their politics, right? The Occupy New York or Occupy Wall Street was not this grassroots movement of the poor trying to rise up. Occupy Wall Street was a bunch of kids with very rich parents who could afford not to go to work. Like you can afford to pretend to be homeless, right? If not homeless, of the working class, right? You can costume yourself as such, and it gives you, it lifts you from a sort of malaise that can set in when you don't have to work for things. There are of course blue collar fucking Democrat types who vote for Democrat. They vote, blue no matter who, because they figure, hey, I'm working class. I need this tax, whatever. There are those people. The people who drive this, people like the Mamdani win, are not. They're going to paint it as such, right? They're going to paint it as working class New Yorkers did this. But really, Mamdani and people like him of his ilk are there. I'm sure he lives in a beautiful apartment. He's not going to live in public housing, right? He's not standing on a fucking bread line or whatever the fuck it is. I'm sure Zohran, his wife is some kind of artist. I believe he comes from a degree of privilege. Like, I'm telling you, he lives good. You know how I know he lives good? Because he's made fully produced rap music videos on a YouTube channel that definitely wasn't generating any fucking income. And if you have the time and ability to do that, then you're doing quite well. He was literally, I'm not even going to sit through and fucking play it. He was, he's a Gen Zer or a millennial. He's 33, so I guess he's a sort of younger millennial. He's somewhere on the border between Gen Z and millennial, I guess. A hip hop douche poser millennial. Like it's so boring, right? That is a boring personality. It's not being a rap or hip hop isn't subversive anymore. It's become milk toast. Especially if like a sort of dorky, is he Indian or I don't know what his nationality is. I have no fucking clue, but he's this sort of generation of he's very basic feeling. He's a very basic feeling dork. I'm surrounded by a million Zohran Mamdanis of every ilk. Replace him with a white guy with the same beard. Around you. We have plenty of these fucking guys in Jersey City. It's a generation who, again, this is spillover from. These are the same guys who used to open up the sort of that millennial trope of the early 2000s, the burger joint with the hanging Edison bulbs, where it's $25 for a fucking cheeseburger and $17 if you would like fries with it, and you're going to sit on an uncomfortable, very high stool at a high top fucking table that it's fucking wobbly. This is what a lot of those guys have evolved into now. They're socialist Democrats. They were the Bernie Bros back then. It's just, again, this is all a way for guys to get laid is by acting like this. It's all guys who want to get pussy in Brooklyn and downtown Jersey City by appearing politically sensitive. That's ultimately what it is. So we'll see. It'll be fun. I love watching an election. The presidential election last year got a little exhausting, in part because there was such a heavy media push to make it look like fucking brat culture Kamala was going to win. Like they were so trying to just sweep under the rug that Trump was running a great ground game and he was doing the podcasts and stuff like that. It became evident kind of late where it was just kind of like, I think they're full of shit again. I think he's actually going to fucking hammer this bitch. But there was a chunk of time there when she first entered the race that there was sort of like, it was a very artificial upswell for her. I didn't truly believe it when it was happening, but I was like, oh, it could. You're making it seem enough as though it could happen. I didn't think it would, just because I was like, I remember they did this last time, the last time that he won, and I feel like they're trying too hard, and this seems like bullshit. Like there were enough people debunking the power, what the power of brat culture was. You go on Twitter and you'd be like, oh, no. People fucking hate that shit. They're going to come out and vote against it. And that morning, once I got on Twitter and I saw long lines of dudes at every fucking polling place, I was like, okay, I think he's got it in the bag. Yeah, it is fun watching a good election is always fun, especially one like I don't really have a dog in the fight in the New York City election. I mean, I go in for work, but it's going to be more of a shithole. It's going to be, New York is going to be a shithole. The shithole is going to shithole. Like whether again, unless like a billionaire like Bloomberg comes in and just him and Giuliani fucking just they're like, hey, turn it into fucking Disney World. That's it. Have them stop and frisk everybody. Which, you know, I don't necessarily, you know, my libertarian side doesn't necessarily agree with shit like that, but you understand where it came from. Yeah, so that's that. All right, we're just at 50. I'm going to, in the interest of what I have to do for the rest of the afternoon here, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate those of you who actually sat and watched the pre-record. I know you prefer to have me on here live. And I'm flattered by that. Just a reminder again, 4th of July next week, I'm going to obviously take that one off, and then should be back the week after that. Not sure if live or not, because it's the summertime, and things do pop up. Sorry, I'm doing a bit of burping. Yeah, have a great 4th of July. God bless America. Don't let any of these pussies make you feel bad for being a patriot. America fucking rules. I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. At Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube. And that's that. Adios, motherfuckers. You